Hey folks, this is Best in Slot. Welcome back to our Prehistoric Kingdom Alpha Builds Desert Zoo kind of thing. I unfortunately lost the first 5 minutes of the recording, basically, but I've made an arch out of rocks. It's going to be a lot of rocks. So, I was looking for suggestions about what we could do for the Nasutoceratops habitat, and a few people in the comments suggested that what I should do is build a Colosseum, basically, because Nasutoceratops kind of looks, it's got, you know, a bull-esque appearance to its horns in particular, and they actually did use bulls in the Colosseum. Also, although it wasn't mentioned, it ties in really nicely, we do have this kind of ripped out of time kind of theme going on, and so the idea is that the Colosseum itself has been ripped out of the ages and then brought into our park, and they've then repurposed it into a habitat. The rocks were hard to work with, and there was unfortunately a limited amount of other tools. There are arches and stuff like that which would have been perfect, but they don't have the right colourings, and I thought having the right colours was more important than it being neat. At the end of the day, this is kind of a ramshackle sort of park anyway, so a little bit of roughness isn't necessarily a big deal. But it's a messy piece of work to say the least, but I had fun building it, and hopefully you guys have fun with the final habitat as well. It's always nice to do something a little bit crazier. I'm going to try to balance the craziness with the not craziness. That's the general idea. And I did base this on the actual real Colosseum, very lightly in terms of where the indentation is, where it differs in colour a little bit, in the general shape. The inside isn't going to have the viewing areas because the inside is instead going to be where the Nasutoceratops lives, but generally speaking, it's not a million miles away. It's definitely not one-to-one realistic. It's the kind of thing I'd like to build again when we have more tools, but I always find it's fun in a way to build when you've got very limited options. We don't have very limited options. But it's fun to build when you've got some limits to your creativity, because I find that having those limitations increases your creativity rather than reducing it. I've definitely talked about this before, but it's like if you're a graphic designer and someone wants to make you to make a logo. The worst thing is when a client says, "Oh, just make it cool," because that's stupid. What I did here was basically just move it over, like flip it over 90 degrees, move it over to what I thought was an approximately good space, and then just rotate, like grab both and you just rotate them 5 degrees at a time. There isn't a grid that I can see, so it's a little harder to get it to like plan out the size beforehand, I would say, but given we can scale everything, that does become less of a big deal anyway. I actually think it looks pretty cool. It's got this very old world, rough-hewn rock kind of vibe to it. If you ever see the video stop moving, it's because I'm Googling for more images of the Colosseum to try and figure out what I'm going to do here. I had to fill in that gap with something, and there are indentations like that in the actual Colosseum, so all kind of came together pretty nicely. The main thing, I don't know, I had fun with this. Like I said, we'll probably do something a bit more chill. I'd like to do a slightly normal habitat for our next one, for one of the ornithopods, and then maybe something crazy. And this was me trying to count, and it's easy if you can't, it's easier to count if you've got something to, you know, when you're a child and you count Smarties. Same idea. So as you get higher up in the Colosseum, on the first 2 levels in particular, so the Colosseum's like double layered. There's an outside and then there's the inside, right? And the outside is a little bit higher, and then it kind of tapers down, and then the inside is nearly full, but we've changed that as well. But on the top floor of the inside, which is what we're working on here, a lot of the windows are filled in. And I just couldn't, because the rock is never flat. No matter how much you scale it, it can't be flat completely. I just couldn't find a way for it to not look really stupid. So I'm going to cover the top here, and it just kind of looks like a weird cake. Just kind of like the last exhibit, or maybe I just want cake. It kind of looks like a crown, you know, a little bit. It doesn't look good. So that's why I kind of started to take it in my own direction a little bit. And just removing that little segment there and kind of having that very Colosseum-esque section where it sort of juts down that we kind of associate with the Colosseum made me feel a whole lot better about the whole thing. It's really cool. So pulled out, this is going to be the bigger half of it. Wanted that to have less in total. That's meant to be like a framing device over the smaller Colosseum, like so. It looks good, doesn't it? I think this needs to be 1 floor higher, if I remember correctly. Yes, it does. It's got to be impressive. You've got to see it from a good old distance, you know? And yeah, well, thank you for the comments as well, because I did not have this idea myself. This was you guys in the comment section. I would not have thought about this, mainly because I didn't think it could be done. And I'm still not convinced it can be done, frankly, because it doesn't really look like it is, but all we can do is do our best, essentially. I would like, it's been a little bit of a shame. I keep seeing all these beautiful natural habitats. I kind of mentioned this. At some point, as much as I love the rocks, I would like to play with the foliage a little bit more, so I'm very excited about the Ornithopod Oasis, which we'll start in the next video. Because in that one I can do a little bit more, you know, grass. Basically, we're going to go full in tropical, I think, is the idea. With smatterings of sand around the outside. Really just a big old oasis. It's going to be very cool. Very excited to build that. We'll have to come up with at least one crazy ass idea. I don't know what that's going to be, but I'll have a little think about it. But yeah, just filling in some of these walls. This was the best I could do. It still looks a little funky. But until we get more materials, I do think this is... It kind of looks like someone's shoved Play-Doh in the gap. But until we get more materials, I think this is probably the best way to handle it, unfortunately. So, you gotta make do, don't you? Just putting a little bit of a roof on there. Lovely stuff. It's actually a surprisingly short build. I think my lack of tools has meant it stayed shorter somehow. Does that make sense? I don't know. I kind of just... There wasn't too much I could do past a certain point other than what I've already done, so I didn't feel the need to keep going. It's kind of refreshing. I only spent like an hour and a half on it or something like that. Only. And here I was making 25 backups just in case. And then it kind of just slots in around the outside like so. Very cool, I think. Yeah, the actual time-lapse portion should be pretty short for this. I think it's only 13 minutes, something like that. And then we'll hop in game and we'll be able to do a bit more building in game, spend a bit more time with our dinosaurs, all that kind of jazz. That's a terrible fence. I do fix that, don't I? I think I fixed that. There we go. I really wanted both sides of this fence to look basically the same, like the black asphalt kind of curves through this little forest of green, which in itself is an oasis amongst this entire area. I was going to have this loop around to the T-Rex, but frankly, I just have my guests walking for like half an hour, so it's just going to be a self loop. It's just going to loop in back on itself, and you can... yeah, this is not going to be fun to watch, this bit. This is just me putting fence down across the entire path. But this is the kind of stuff we have to do, folks. You know, this is part and parcel, and it might not seem important, and this is hardly a complex fence or anything, but this is the kind of stuff that makes your zoo look like a zoo at the end of the day, and if you don't do it, you don't get the right results. So you're going to have to bloody well deal with it, I'm afraid. Yeah, I just wanted both sides to have that same, like, lush greenness, and then sand and rock and rug. I'm going to try to use less rocks in the next habitat. I'm not making any promises. I think if we had more building tools, and we will get more building tools, don't take that as a complaint. It's alpha, you know, I'm definitely not complaining. I'm simply saying because at the moment, we don't have that many. It does make the rocks, I think, maybe slightly more important than they would have been. I will fix that in a second. There we go. Just don't panic, okay? It worries me as well. When I see myself doing something moderately weird looking, I'm like, do I change this? Do I fix this? Yes, thank God. Well done past me. So yeah, there is our fenced in path. There's me checking Discord out. I should really cut that out of the video. And just going to do some water around the outside, because there needs to be water. And I was kind of basing it generally on the, you know, Colosseum would have had a ring around the outside, and the middle platform was often raised, and it's the same rough idea. Now, if you've watched me play, if you've watched me play Planet Zoo, you'll be familiar with this. This is a lot easier because look at the size of those rocks. They're incredible. They're like mountains in a single piece. It's so good. But you'll know that I'm very big on surrounding the outside of your zoo in forest. I think it's key to making your zoo actually look good, especially on these humongous maps that we've got access to. And because the rocks are so easy to work with, usually in the past I would use the terrain tool, but because I can make massive rocks that look like more natural terrain anyway, we can kind of just use the rock tool. We're going to cover this in some forest. I am pushing the forest a little bit further than I anticipated, mainly because there's this, because the Colosseum kind of blends in with the rock behind it, and that made me sad. So I needed some colour differentiation. I started with the scrubland, but I'm a tropical guy at heart, guys. You know me. And it does work with the kind of theme we've got going on, you know, the tropical oasis. At the end of the day, I'm just going to do what looks good, alright? So yeah, what I did there was raise the ground up behind the rocks and then cover it with trees, so there's like a backdrop to the rock, and it looks like there's this big forest in the distance. I think it does look a lot better. That's a step too far. I will be changing that in a second on the actual rock. This is the kind of thing this brush tool is good for. Usually I don't really use it very often just because I like having control, as I think I've said in every video now, but for this kind of circumstance, when you're just trying to blot in a big area, it's super, super helpful. And I think if you're going to do like a humongous habitat that's more forest focused, which we really haven't done, you know, all my habitats, okay, all three of them I suppose so far, have been either not that big or they just didn't need forest but meticulously placed trees. So being able to just blanket put down a forest, you know, if we do like a big T-Rex habitat at the end or a big Tarbosaurus habitat or whatever, then maybe, let's not get into that, maybe the forest tool will be actually used in the habitat as well. We'll have to wait and see. Time for some bush. Made a little skinny bush. And one reason to do this as well, because if you screw up like I did, clearly, because I started off with 2 bushes and now I only have 1 bush in terms of width. My bush got thin, basically. But if you fill the whole thing, I speak English, relatively evenly, then it kind of cuts that gap out a little bit. It's much less noticeable because I don't know why, actually. It just is, you know? Just science, that's how our eyes work. When you fill in the gap, the differing width of that gap becomes less visible. That's kind of what I'm trying to get across here. It might be nonsense. It probably is nonsense. Oh, one reason I'm very excited about the ornithopod. I believe there's a patch coming out in the next couple of days, so hopefully before I do the next habitat, I am doing this a little ahead of time, which is going to fix that water near the path thing that I've talked about in the past. So we should be able to get right up to the water's edge and maybe have our... It'd be nice to get a little closer to the animals with the ornithopods as well. Don't really know what I'm going to do. Thinking. Something stupid, I'm sure. I wanted to fill in the other side as well because it wasn't quite matching. And I think we're nearly done, folks. As I say, we're going to spend a little bit more time actually in-game, and I've got a couple things I want to build. I want to build a shelter for the Nasutos. I've got a cheeky little idea for how that's going to work. We'll have to see. And this was me taking photos. Doesn't it look good in photo mode, though? This was me taking photos so I could show off on Discord, basically. I'm not going to lie. This was the entire point. It looks good, though, doesn't it? Look at that. It's beautiful. Yeah, I guess you guys don't need to see this bit, really, do you? It's good, though. Right? It's like if you look at it too close, it kind of loses its effect. But I think if you just glance at it, you're like, whoa, it's a rock Colosseum. That's cool beans. Okay, so just remember the cool beans, ignore everything else. Let's hop in game, shall we? So my idea for the shelter is basically we're going to shrink down the Colosseum. And I don't know if this is going to work, but I really want to try it out. So we're going to take our Colosseum. We're going to hit V. Just got there. And we're going to... I want to see how teeny... Oh my god, it's teeny tiny. Oh, that's adorable. Oh, that's super cool. I love that it can do that. I'm still getting a little lag. There's so many rocks here that the game doesn't necessarily love the idea. Look at it! And then I figure what we'll do, we'll just put some like metal plates going across it or wooden plates going across it, stack them up with sticks, put some sleeping areas in there, and it's a little thematic resting area for our dinosaurs. And it's super cute, more importantly than anything else. Yeah, I like that. Right, let's get our dinos on the way. Here we go. So, Nasuto. Now, I really like this skin. What's the female look like? Female's just smaller. I'm going to stick with one skin. Now, that might seem crazy, cuckoo town crazy. And, you know, that's just who I am. I'm a rebel. What can I say? But there's 2 reasons. Number 1, I really like the skin. That crest frill patterning is absolutely beautiful. 2, there is actually individual size and colour variation across the same species and sex of your dinosaurs. I could make 5 male Nasutoceratops, and in theory, they shouldn't look the same. A little boys' club. We've got Byron, we've got Mano, we've got Hania, we've got Machik. I think that should be enough. What are you doing? Oh, I'm paused. I'm a massive dummy, basically. Alright, cool. Okay, I'm just going to speed up time and let those finish, and then we can go back to work. There's Mano, Hania, my chick. She's my chick. Okay, cool. So before we let them in, let's do a little bit of building work. Nothing particularly fancy here. I think from above it might look stupid. Oh, it does look stupid. Okay, I take it all back. We're doing the rocks. I think rocks are the only way this is going to work. I would like to use something else. I genuinely would, but I think for this, we need a good old rock. So, we're going to scale you. We're going to make you big boy, I think. Nice and wide and long. Not tall. No, senorita. Not at all. Yeah, look at that. Big boy rock. Oh, that's so much better already, honestly. It looks more like an actual part of the Colosseum. I think we want to rotate. I hate this thing, by the way. Devs, I'm so sorry, but I hate this rotator. It is so bad. It just doesn't work. Like, half the time it just does its own thing entirely. I shouldn't complain. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, well, I mean, we're going to give it some support structures, of course, but I think that's a better idea. And I made the rules, so get over it. Right, I'm going to just stack some more rocks here. It's all going to come together, folks. Don't you worry about it, alright? Papa's got this. Right, okay, and then we want to do, like, little baby ones. Little babies. Oh, no, you're too much of a baby. Bigger baby. Moderately sized baby ones. There we go, and you can support that top structure. It's not the worst thing I've ever built. It's not the best thing I've ever built. It's the most something thing I've ever built. Do I like the middle? Yeah, I'm not that convinced by this, but it'll do for now. We'll see if I change it up later on. And let's just get some dinosaurs on the go, more importantly. I'm in completely the wrong thing, aren't I? Yeah, there we go. We can put these in. And in theory, although I don't think it's actually in the game at the moment, but in the future, our Nasuto will recognize this as a sleeping spot. And choose to come rest here, which is pretty cool, I think. I really like that as an idea. Yeah, I don't know. It needs trees. That's what it needs. It needs trees. We all need trees, folks. Everything, ever in doubt, add plant life. They'll say, "And rocks." No, maybe not rocks. We'll think about the rocks, but it definitely needs trees. Where's my? Stay away from the fern. Where's my? I just come here. It's fine. That'll do. And tell you what, let's scale this one up a little bit. That's already so much nicer. It's crazy that just adding trees makes the world a better place, you know? It's true. Much like in real life. Everyone should just go plant some trees. Stop saving. Oh no, why are you still saving? Oh my god, hello. You're making me very nervous, game. Now you are going to be a bigger boy, but you can't be as big as this big boy. You're a moderately sized boy. Or girl, I don't know. I don't know where you are, tree. But you can be whatever you want. Right. A little bit of shrubs. I'm going to try to resist going too crazy, but we definitely need some. Has got to have that oasis kind of vibe to it, you know? I don't really care about the back part. No offense, back part. Back parts are lovely, but not today. I do think that looks nicer. I will stop working with rock after this, I promise, because it's even I can tell that it's getting a little bit too much, you know, but has been fun. I'm going to keep scale this time, and we're just going to add a few more trees. Where's my big boys? There's my big boys. You know, it's meant to have that slight overgrown tropical kind of vibe to it, even if it is predominantly... I just think it's going to look really boring if it's just sand and rock, you know? I just don't think that's exciting to look at. No offense, sand and rock, I love you both dearly, but there's so much of you. You know, there's just so very much that it needs a little va-va-voom. And I want to do something here in the middle, but I guess I shouldn't. Actually, what we can do, probably, maybe we could do like a little trail. Where's my beloved clay? I love the clay. The clay's awesome. It's over here. I'm gonna go baby, baby, and maybe we just do like a little... It's like a well, in humans it's called a desire path, and that's because, so you know when you see like on parks and stuff, and you see that where the grass has sort of faded out over time because people follow that path, that's called the desire path, because people desire to walk that way, and it fades out over time. In dinosaurs, I guess you'd call it a game trail. So we're going to keep an eye out for hunters. And I just want like a little mess up of this here and there. Just make it a little bit more interesting to look at. Maybe we can get something slightly different in here. Not that sand, that sounds rubbish. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. It needs rocks. I know what I said, okay, but it does actually need rocks. Just to break up the... It's all about framing, and I say this as a very terrible amateur photographer, but I think a lot of the principles for photography do count for exhibit building, where you've got, you know, I'm trying to fill out this frame as well as we can. So you've got to look at the sight lines and what areas are, you know, where do you want that negative space to be, and blah blah blah, all that kind of nonsense. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. I think if I do too much more, it's going to kind of ruin the aesthetique. I need to put like a rock in there or something, maybe like a signpost. I would like to do signs for both dinosaurs. I guess we'll have to do standing ones like here and here. That's probably not going to be that big a deal. I can definitely do that. Let's unpause and get some dinosaurs. Byron, Mano, Hania. I'm going to check now. What we can do is keep an eye out to see if we can spot... I mean, look already, that variation. This one on the left is bigger and lighter in tone. A little darker again. And this one is a little bit more yellow in tone. Well, it was. It's not super clear. On some of them it is. If you look at the Tarbosaurus and how that gets some variation, sometimes it looks like its throat is actually on fire. It's absolutely nuts. And there they are. There's our Nasutoceratops Colosseum. I don't know what that on earth we're going to call it. This is called the Styracosaurus Strait, as in S-T-R-A-I-T, which was again another fantastic recommendation from you guys at home. Very much appreciate that one. Can I put the feeder in there? But that is just, maybe this is how we break up this area. I'm just going to put it there. I know they don't use it, but it's neither here nor there. Wait, do you go inside to sleep? What are you doing? I'm watching you, buddy boy. What are you up to? What's your game? Where have you gone? Hello. Da-da-da-da. What are you up to? Da-da-da-da. I'd be such a good spy. Specifically only for dinosaurs, but it counts, right? I'm surprised they all kind of wandered off back down here. I'm glad that they can, though. Seems they can take in the whole thing. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. So if we look at this from above, it's whole area is a little bit nuts, I've got to say. It's got like this kind of yin-yang kind of look to it as well, and you know, or like an Ouroboros kind of thing going on, which I quite like. More Ouroboros than yin-yang. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. And what I liked about this as well, the Colosseum idea, which again, your ideas, guys, is that this is very vertical. Obviously, you know, this goes high into the sky, and it really does. Whereas this is a pit, so it's a canyon, it goes down below ground. So between the two of them, we've kind of got this verticality shift as well. Lots of other good, positive sounding things. Well said, buddy. Well said. At least the Nasutos get pretty close as well. Yeah, just stand here and watch them. This looks like a... I don't like the front of this, the roof, but I think it looks okay in general. And they can use it, which is nice. Yeah! I don't know what to say, guys. Pretty happy. Don't know what to add. It's all very disconcerting. So, next video, we're going to move on over here. We're going to start the Ornithopod Oasis. As I said, we're just going to go full on tropical. And you're going to walk forward. I'm going to have like an entrance arch that says Ornithopod Oasis on it. And then we're going to do something. I'll have a think about that. Again, if you have any ideas or suggestions, feel free to hit me up in the comment section down below. From me and the Nasuto boys. Wait, let's hop in the camera mode for a sec. Now, if I do this, do they move? Oh, they do move. I'm an idiot. For some reason, I didn't think they did, and I've been complaining. I'm a big dummy. Synchronized sleeping. Oh yeah. Hey pal. Annoyingly, most of them don't have the cool coloration. Because of the colour variation, I think you might be the only one who's got it. You know, the kind of that burst of yellow, they've all kind of got slightly browner tints. Oh, they're inside each other, sleeping. That can't be comfortable for you, buddy. It's like the Nasutoceratops centipede project. Time of day. Brighten up a little bit. Yeah, oh no, this is the one I like, I think. Yeah. Cool, right? I think so. Okay then, well, thank you very much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen, for our Colosseum build. Next video, we'll do something. Probably something a bit more chill, and then something crazy, and then something crazy. Or maybe Tarbosaurus can be chill, and T-Rex can be crazy. That could be a plan. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit the subscribe button, the like button, the comment button, or just hit every button you see, basically, unless it's unsubscribe or downvote. That would be so mean. And I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers, much love as always. Bye-bye.
Reaching out.